How to make any woman miss you badly even if she's not interested. Old Stoic wisdom. He who is brave is free. Seneca. If a woman never really felt anything for you, can you still make her miss you? Surprisingly, yes. And no, it's not about magic words or manipulative games. It's about mastering perception, timing, and emotional presence. Most men make the critical mistake of trying too hard to stay relevant in a woman's mind. They flood her with messages, constant updates, and desperate check-ins, all in hopes that she'll feel something deeper. But here's the irony: the more available you are, the less intrigue you create. Comfort replaces curiosity, and without curiosity, there is no longing. Let's flip that script. Welcome back. If you've ever felt invisible to a woman, or worse, like you had her attention, and now it's fading, this message is for you. We're going to explore how to reverse that drift and quietly draw her interest, even if she never looked your way before. This isn't about false confidence or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about applying timeless truths. Attraction grows in space, desire is fueled by mystery, and emotional impact often begins when you leave, not when you arrive. The mistake many men make: they either smother or vanish. Neither makes a woman miss you. What does work? Strategic absence after meaningful presence? Be there, fully, authentically. Then step back, not as a tactic, but as a signal you're not chasing. You're offering something rare, and walking away if it's not seen. When done right, your silence isn't empty, it echoes, and that's what she'll miss. 1. Stop giving her what she hasn't earned. Don't hand over gold to someone treating it like gravel. That's exactly what you're doing when you give time, energy, and attention to a woman who hasn't earned it. You're texting her every morning like clockwork, being the reliable good guy, offering emotional support, remembering her birthday, her dog's name, and that random childhood story she dropped once in passing, while she gives you back crumbs, dry replies, days of silence, no effort, no initiation, no spark. And yet, you persist, thinking maybe if you're consistent enough, kind enough, patient enough, she'll see your value. That's not noble. That's self-neglect dressed in hope. Old Stoic wisdom doesn't support self-betrayal for the sake of maybe. It teaches you to master your emotions, not let them master you. And make no mistake, what you're doing isn't building a connection, it's creating comfort. And comfort, my friend, kills curiosity. Here's the reality: people don't value what they get for free. They value what they earn. That's not cynicism. That's Stoic principles backed by real-world human behavior. If you keep pouring yourself into someone who hasn't made even a dent in showing genuine interest, you're not being romantic, you're being predictable. Predictable is boring. Predictable is invisible. You've become her emotional wallpaper, always there, rarely noticed. You're giving her VIP access when she hasn't even bought a ticket. So what happens? She tunes you out, not because you're not good enough, but because you're too easy to access. She never wonders where you are. She doesn't feel the impact of your absence because you never give her the chance to miss you. This isn't a game. This is self-respect. Be a man with an iron mind. Pull back, not out of spite, but out of clarity. She hasn't earned your attention, so stop giving it. Don't keep showing up just to prove your worth. That's not masculine, that's desperate. Instead, be silent. Let your absence do what your words couldn't. That pause you create. That's where tension lives. That's where mystery breathes. That's where attraction grows. If she starts reaching out, if she begins to initiate, now you're working with something. Now the energy is mutual. But if she stays silent, that's your answer. Take it with grace and move on. You must understand the greatest leverage you have is your absence, not your chase, not your praise, not your emotional labor. When you step back, you signal something powerful, that your attention is earned, not owed, that you're a man who knows his worth and won't audition for someone's affection. That's old Stoic wisdom in action, calm, firm, and rooted in self-control. So the next time you're tempted to send that good morning text to a woman who hasn't shown she cares, stop, hold the line, be still, let her come to you. Let her wonder where you went. Let her miss what she never appreciated. And if she never does, that tells you everything. That's not rejection. It's redirection. Bottom line, don't give what hasn't been earned. Be a fortress, not a doormat. Hold your ground. When you stop feeding the fire she's not tending, that's when the cold sets in. That's when she'll notice what she lost. And that's when she may, finally, start to miss you. Badly. 2. Create space that feels uncomfortable for her. Don't fake distance. Don't play pretend with delayed text responses or clever wait 3 hours tricks. That's not strategy. That's immaturity in disguise. If you really want a woman to miss you, especially one who's been lukewarm, passive, or just treating you like a background character in her soap opera, you must create real space. Intentional space. The kind that doesn't just feel like a pause, but a presence disappearing. This is where most men fold. The second she pulls back, their instincts scream, close the gap, fix the vibe, make it right again. But why are you trying to restore something she's not even trying to maintain? That's not romantic, it's insecure. One of the key Stoic rules is this: don't react impulsively, respond with reason. And reason says, if she's not showing up, neither should you. You must stop chasing. Stop giving CPR to a conversation that's flatlined. Let the silence do what your words couldn't. Let it echo. Let it stretch just enough that she notices what's no longer there. That's not punishment. That's clarity. Because here's the truth. Women don't miss men who are always available. They miss the ones who made them feel something and then left a noticeable void. Comfort is forgettable. The impact is unforgettable. You must leave her with a moment, a glance, a conversation that lingers, and then vanish just long enough for her to ask herself, where did he go? But don't confuse space with sulking in a corner, secretly watching her Instagram stories, and overanalyzing every pixel of her latest post. That's not space. That's self-torture. Real space means discipline. It means practical stoicism, cutting out the habits that tether you to her emotionally. Stop replying to every story. Don't drop a fire emoji on her selfie just to remind her you exist. Stop inventing reasons to text her like you're trying to sneak back into her awareness. She knows you're there. You've made that clear. Now it's time she notices what life feels like when you're not. And here's the twist. Most men miss this move only works if you've already made an impression. If you've been nothing more than a passive spectator in her life. Space won't make her miss you. It'll just make you invisible. But if you've shared real moments, if you've sparked something emotional, even subtle, then your absence has weight. It creates tension. It opens the door for her to reflect, to miss, to pursue. This isn't a tactic to manipulate her. This is you waking up and realizing that investing in someone who's not investing back goes against every principle of practical stoicism. The pursuit of someone who isn't curious about you is not noble. It's exhausting. And it breaks one of the timeless Stoic rules. Don't place your peace in the hands of someone who hasn't earned your trust. So here's your move: be quiet. Be still. Don't send that message. Don't check in. Don't pretend to disappear. Actually do it. Reclaim your energy. Redirect your focus. And if she reaches out, good. She felt the shift. She noticed. But if she doesn't, that tells you something even more valuable. You were the only one holding the connection up. And that realization, that's freedom. The most powerful move isn't some flashy line or clever manipulation. It's nothing. It's silence. It's absence. It's your refusal to give energy to someone who's not earning it. That's not playing games. That's playing life like a man who lives by Stoic rules, with an iron mind, grounded in practical stoicism. Let her feel the space you once filled. Don't fear the discomfort. She should. Because when you finally stop showing up like clockwork, that's when she'll realize what time without you really feels like. If you found this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who needs this perspective. Don't forget to subscribe for more timeless wisdom on self-worth, attraction, and emotional strength. Comment to remember, my silence has power. Let that be your affirmation. Drop it in the comments if you're ready to stop chasing and start leading with self-respect. 3. Kill the check in habit. Don't chase. Don't beg. Don't constantly remind her you exist. That's the path of weakness, not the paths of wisdom. In the teachings of Stoicism, Epictetus reminds us he who is not master of himself is not free. When you become a man who constantly checks in, texting her good morning, asking how her day was, filling every silence with digital noise, you're not showing care, you're showing dependency. That's not attractive, that's not powerful, and that certainly won't make any woman miss you. What it does is breed predictability, routine, background noise, and no woman misses what's always in her face. If she never gets the chance to feel your absence, how can she ever crave your presence? The Stoicism win lies in restraint, in control, in knowing when to speak and when to hold the silence like a sword. Let her wonder. Let her feel the vacuum of your presence and let her curiosity grow. When she has to ask herself, why haven't I heard from him? That's when the tide begins to turn. That moment of doubt, that spark of intrigue, that's power, that's leverage, that's influence forged through silence. You must stop initiating conversations just to feel relevant. Don't text to stay warm on her radar. That's not a connection. That's emotional clutter. Be silent unless you have something real to say. You're not here to babysit her attention. You're here to create gravity. And gravity doesn't chase. It pulls. This isn't about playing games. This is about reclaiming your energy. This is about letting the universe and her feel your absence as deeply as they once felt your presence. No man is free who is not master of himself, said Epictetus. That's the essence of this. That's what separates the men who win from the men who beg. The modern world is full of noise, messages, alerts, dopamine loops. Don't be another ping on her phone. Be the silence she can't ignore. Be the absence that feels like presence. Be the mystery that makes her curious again. The check-in habit doesn't make her feel loved. It makes her feel smothered, and it makes you look small. Confidence isn't loud. Confidence isn't clingy. Confidence lets go. It lets her come to you. It invites, but never pleads. You must ask yourself every time you reach for your phone, is this message coming from strength or from fear? If the answer is fear, don't send it. Let silence do its job. Let space create value. The men who walk the paths of wisdom know this true influence lies in the unseen, the unspoken, the unknown. She can't miss you if she never feels your absence. She can't desire you if you're always offering yourself without invitation. Cut the habit, reclaim the mystery, create scarcity, and understand this. If she forgets you the moment you stop checking in, then she never valued you to begin with. Good. Let her go. That's not loss. That's clarity. That's victory. That's the Stoicism win. Walk away from the need for validation. Walk the paths of wisdom instead. Own your silence. Make it your message. And let your presence be remembered, not repeated. 4. Build a life she has to catch up to. Don't pause your life waiting for a woman to notice you. Don't stand still hoping she'll turn around and finally see your worth. That's not strength. That's hesitation dressed in politeness. If you really want a woman, any woman, to miss you badly, even if she wasn't interested to begin with, here's the truth that hits like thunder. You have to build a life so full, so driven, so aligned with Stoic principles that your absence leaves a louder echo than your presence ever did. Not because you're playing games, not because you're trying to be hard to get, but because you genuinely, deeply, authentically don't need her to feel whole. You've got bigger battles to fight, bigger visions to chase, and a destiny that doesn't pause for flirtation. That's the secret most men never learn. They pour their energy into trying to impress women instead of becoming impressive men. They ask, how can I make her notice me? When the real question is, how can I make myself impossible to ignore? And this isn't about fake confidence or rented ambition. It's about building a lifestyle so vibrant, so purposeful, that she has to ask herself where she fits in it, or if she even does. This is the kind of energy that comes from cultivating an iron mind, a mindset rooted in solitude, discipline, and clarity. You're no longer available on demand. You're not texting good morning like clockwork. You're not lingering in her DMs hoping for a little attention. You're in the gym before sunrise. You're learning skills while others scroll. You're investing in your vision while she's still figuring out hers. And slowly, without force, without pressure, you become a different man. The man she thought she could overlook becomes the man who starts living like he was never waiting in the first place. That's when she starts to notice, not because you chased her, but because you disappeared into purpose, because your time became sacred, your presence became rare, and your attention became valuable. That is the essence of old Stoic wisdom. Become so grounded in your own purpose that others are drawn to your orbit by sheer force of gravity. And yes, they notice, women notice, especially when they're used to being the center of attention. And suddenly, you're not orbiting anymore. You're in your own lane, building momentum, ignoring the noise, focused on becoming your next level. You've stopped being the nice guy always waiting around and started being the mysterious one who has something better to do. And that shift, subtle, silent, unspoken, is more powerful than any pickup line you could ever deliver. Because now, she's the one wondering, did I misjudge him? Was he more than I thought? And that little question haunts her in the quiet moments. It follows her into the night when she's scrolling through her phone and sees you smiling. Not with her, not for her, but simply because you're living well. This isn't just about attraction, it's about transformation. It's about letting go of the need for external validation and embracing Stoic principles that teach you to find peace in your own progress. You don't need her to text you back to feel good. You don't need her attention to feel alive. You're already in motion, already building, already winning. The world becomes quieter when you no longer seek approval, and in that silence, real confidence is born. The kind of confidence that doesn't boast, but also doesn't beg. It just is. You don't have to tell her you've changed. She'll feel it. And not just her, the whole world starts to respond differently. Your friends, your peers, your family, they see it in your posture, your focus, your discipline. You've become a man of movement, a man of standards, a man whose life demands respect because it's built on iron mind foundations. Don't waste that by slipping back into old habits. Don't shrink to fit into a space that never honoured you. Be big, be bold, be distant, not out of spite, but out of purpose. That's when she feels it most. Not the silence itself, but the reason behind it. She realises you're not just busy, you're building. That difference is everything. It's not a trick. It's not manipulation. It's the natural result of stepping fully into who you were always meant to become. And you can't fake it. You can't post your way to this power. It only comes through real, unfiltered action. Every day you choose to show up for yourself instead of showing up in her notifications. You build mystery. You build desire. You build distance. And in that distance, she starts to feel what life is like without you chasing. That's when the shift happens. That's when the regret kicks in. That's when she misses you. Not the version of you who waited around, but the version who outgrew waiting altogether. So don't ask, how do I get her back? Ask instead, how do I build a life so rich? She regrets ever walking away, because the man who lives by Stoic principles, who sharpens his identity with old Stoic wisdom, who forms an iron mind in the furnace of discipline, that man doesn't need to be remembered. He becomes unforgettable. 5. Flip the power dynamic without saying a word. Flip the power dynamic without saying a single word. That is the path of wisdom. That is Stoicism win. When a woman senses that you're always available, always eager, always chasing, she knows she holds the cards. She knows you want her more than she wants you. And that certainty kills urgency. When there is no uncertainty, there is no desire. You must break that imbalance, not with arguments, not with texts, not with desperate attempts to gain her approval. You do it through silent strength, through behaviour, not begging. Epictetus said, "He who is not master of himself is not free." So reclaim your freedom, reclaim your time, reclaim your value. Stop chasing someone who isn't meeting you halfway. Stop proving your worth to someone who's blind to it. The moment you stop seeking her attention is the moment she starts to notice your absence, not with her words, but with her emotions. Your silence will speak louder than anything you could say. Your distance will shout your worth louder than 1,000 compliments. She will feel it. She will wonder. She will reevaluate her hold over you. That's when the dynamic flips. You must stop showing up for someone who doesn't show up for you. That is not cold. That is power. That is self-respect. That is stoicism-win. Men lose ground because they explain too much. They talk instead of act. They overshare instead of pulling back. And the more they try to be understood, the more they are dismissed. So stop. Let your absence speak. Let your focus shift. Let your energy move to the things that build you. Your health, your goals, your purpose. When she senses that she's no longer the center of your world, curiosity takes hold. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, said Epictetus. And that includes emotional wants. Detach from neediness. Detach from approval-seeking. You don't need to fake coldness. You don't need to pretend indifference. You simply stop making someone a priority who treats you like an option. Do this not to manipulate, but to master yourself. Do this to step onto the paths of wisdom. Real power is not loud. It is calm, composed, and unshakable. When you stop explaining and start acting, you shift the game. When you stop chasing and start building yourself, you shift the energy. That shift creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates attraction. That is how she starts to miss you. Not because you pushed her, but because you pulled back. She misses what she thought would always be there. That's not trickery. That's reality. That's emotional discipline. That's how you win. Be still. Be firm. Be grounded. Let your silence redefine the connection. Let your absence force reflection. This is not about making her chase. It's about making yourself undeniable. It's not a tactic. It's a transformation. When you walk the paths of wisdom, when you live by Stoic principles, you become the man who cannot be ignored. Be that man. That is how you win. That is how you make her miss you badly. 6. Let her feel the silence without filling it. Don't rush in. Don't fill the silence with noise. That's where most men fumble. Right in that fragile space between her last message and the silence that follows. A day goes by. No text. 2 days. Still nothing. Panic starts to whisper. You reach for your phone. Just checking in. You type, then delete. Good. Because here's the truth. The moment you break the silence, you break the spell. That tension you feel, that's power. That's presence. That's practical stoicism in action. Most men, especially those who never learned the ancient Stoic rules, treat silence like something broken. They want to fix it, patch it, bandage it with a quick, "Hey, hope you're okay." But real strength is in restraint. Not coldness, not games, just the quiet, confident discipline to let her feel what it's like without you. If she's used to your presence, your steady replies, your check-ins, your emotional availability, your silence will ring loud. And that's exactly what you want. Let it echo. Don't fill it. Because here's what's really happening beneath the surface. People don't miss what they can reach at will. They miss what disappears without explanation. It's not about being cruel. It's about creating space. Space for curiosity, for questions, for awareness. That's where intrigue is born. That's where the "did I mess up" starts to bloom in her mind. Did I lose him? And that thought, that is where you want to live. In her head, rent-free. Let me give you an example. Let's say you used to message her daily. Nothing over the top, but consistent. A little back and forth, maybe some flirtation. Then, without warning, you step back. You don't lash out. You don't explain. You just stop. No hard feelings, no passive aggression, just quiet, intentional distance. And suddenly, the man she thought would always be there isn't. Now it's her turn. If she's invested, even a little, that silence will nudge her. She'll open your chat, scroll through it. Maybe she types a message, deletes it, waits, wonders. That wondering, that uncertainty is the spark. That's what makes her miss you. Not your words, not your memes, not your check-ins, your absence. You must understand silence isn't emptiness. It's a message, one written in bold with no punctuation, but one she feels. And if she doesn't respond, that's your answer. She was never all in, and that hurts, sure, but it also saves you from investing more into a dead end. That's one of the overlooked Stoic rules. Don't chase what doesn't chase back. Be strong enough to let go when the silence speaks louder than she ever did. Now, here's the hard part. Most men break before the silence does. They'll rationalize. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe she's just busy. No, she saw it. People see what they want to. What men fear in silence is discomfort, the unknown. But discomfort is the forge where confidence is built. A man guided by practical stoicism doesn't crumble under emotional uncertainty. He breathes into it, he lets it teach him, and most importantly, he doesn't flinch. You don't have to ghost her, you don't have to be cold, but you must allow her to feel your absence without you constantly reminding her that you're still available. This isn't revenge, it's reality. If she's interested, she'll reach out. If she's not, she won't. Either way, you win, because you've stepped out of the exhausting business of convincing someone to care. You've moved into the realm of knowing your value and letting your energy reflect it. And when she does feel that shift, when the man she once took for granted becomes a memory instead of a presence, that's when she feels the sting. That's when she remembers how it felt when you laughed, when you led the conversation, when you carried the vibe, not because you reminded her, but because you stopped. That's the paradox of power when you no longer chase it. It turns around and follows you. So let her feel the silence. Let it stretch. Let it linger. Let it breathe. Don't rush to patch what isn't yours to fix. Your calm absence, when rooted in purpose and self-respect, is one of the most magnetic forces you can offer. You're not being distant to punish her. You're being intentional to preserve your peace. That is what practical stoicism teaches us. Don't chase chaos. Protect your energy. If she values you, she will come looking. And if she doesn't, you now have the clarity to walk away, clean and proud. In the end, silence is not a gap to be filled. It's a test to be passed. The man who masters it, without bitterness, without desperation, becomes unforgettable. Not because he begged to be remembered, but because he dared to vanish without apology. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. 7. Trigger curiosity, not jealousy. Don't fall into the trap. Too many men, smart, capable men, try to make a woman miss them by yanking on the strings of jealousy like some clumsy puppeteer. They post pictures with other women, throw out cryptic little hints about mysterious conversations, all in a desperate attempt to get a reaction. But here's the truth. Jealousy is cheap. It's a fast burn. It might spike her attention for a minute, but it doesn't create the kind of respect, attraction, or emotional gravity you're actually craving. Real men with an iron mind and a foundation rooted in old Stoic wisdom, don't settle for gimmicks. They understand that if you want to make a woman miss you badly, even when she wasn't interested in the first place, you don't play games. You plant seeds of curiosity. Jealousy makes her react. Curiosity. It draws her in. See, curiosity doesn't scream for attention. It whispers. It makes her tilt her head, raise an eyebrow, wonder where you've been and what you're up to, and most importantly, it gets her thinking about you without you ever having to say a word. The key is simple, but brutally honest, most men don't trigger curiosity because they don't give her anything to wonder about. They're not building. They're not evolving. Their lives revolve around whether or not she sends a text. And, brother, if that's you, she already knows exactly where you are. You're not mysterious. You're predictable. And that's a death sentence in attraction. If you want to live by the Stoic principles that built empires and won the hearts of queens, you must detach from this modern desperation. Be the man who's not waiting for her attention, but is busy building something she can't quite see. You don't need to post moody selfies or drop vague one-liners. You need to stop oversharing and start actually living. Build yourself. Grow quietly. Move deliberately. That's old Stoic wisdom in action. Calm strength, not loud hunger. When she looks at your life and sees motion without explanation, when she notices your energy is focused inward, not scattered in her direction, that's when curiosity grabs her. Who is he becoming? What changed? Why isn't he chasing me anymore? These questions do more than ego-stroking games ever will. And here's the hard truth. Sometimes it's not even about her. Sometimes you're not trying to get her to miss you. You're just addicted to the chase. You don't want the woman. You want the feeling of pursuing her, of needing her to need you. That's a habit, not a connection. And if you're serious about stepping into the man you were meant to be, you must break it. You must ask yourself, do I want her to miss me, or the version of me that constantly begged for her attention? Don't be the echo of her choices. Be the origin of your own. She'll miss you when you don't need her to. When you're steady, grounded, and not performing for her gaze. That's what a man with an iron mind does. He lives fully, without applause, and lets the silence speak louder than his presence ever could. Stop trying to trigger reactions. Start building a life so rich, so intentional, so fiercely yours, that her curiosity doesn't just spark, it burns. That's the power of old Stoic wisdom. That's how you leave a mark. Not by chasing her, but by becoming the man who doesn't chase at all. And yet, somehow, she can't stop thinking about it. 8. Become unpredictable. Let's get one thing clear. Predictability kills desire. If a woman can read you like a book, she'll shelve you like one. Attraction thrives on mystery. If you want a woman to miss you, deeply, even desperately, you must become unpredictable. That's not a trick. That's a tactic. You must break the mold of routine, step off the conveyor belt of sameness. When every move of yours can be anticipated, you become boring, dull, dead to her curiosity. And curiosity is the seed of desire. Instead, let her wonder. Let her feel your absence. Imagine your presence. Crave your attention. Sometimes you answer fast. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you share your thoughts. Other times, you let silence speak. One day you're there. The next day you're locked in the grind. Absent, unbothered, thriving. That's the power of contrast. That's how you make her chase. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, said Epictetus, a giant in the paths of wisdom. And make no mistake, becoming unpredictable isn't foolish. It's calculated. It's control. It's stoicismwin in action. The Stoics didn't teach us to be passive. They taught us to command our emotions, to master our responses, to lead with reason over impulse. When a woman feels like she's constantly guessing what's going on in your world, she'll chase that answer. She'll miss you badly, not because you disappeared, but because you've elevated yourself beyond her reach. You're not being rude, you're being sovereign, you're not being distant, you're being focused. That's strength, that's masculine energy. And in today's world, where everyone is constantly available, constantly exposed, a man who withholds, who remains elusive, becomes rare, and rarity is magnetic. You must realize the more you give everything up front, the less she values what you give. The more she knows your routine, the more she controls the rhythm. But when you shatter the pattern, you shatter her expectations. And when you do that, she thinks, she imagines, she aches. He who is brave is free. Epictetus reminds us, free yourself from the need to be always available. Free yourself from her approval. That's how you win. That's how you awaken real attraction. You want to be missed. Then don't be predictable. You want to be desired. Then don't be easily understood. Keep her thinking. Keep her wondering. Keep her chasing. This is the path of the uncommon man, the man who understands the ancient code, who studies the paths of wisdom, who walks in the quiet power of stoicism. Predictability is slavery. Unpredictability is strength. Don't explain yourself. Don't justify your silence. Don't be afraid to disrupt her expectations. Let her feel your presence through your absence. Let her realize your value when you're not there. That's how you make her miss you. That's how you burn into her mind. That's how you win. Relentlessly, repeatedly, undeniably. Stay unpredictable. Stay powerful. Stay ahead. 9. Let your energy do the talking. Don't chase her with words. Make her feel you without saying a thing. In a world drowning in cheap talk and fast texts, your true power lies not in what you say, but in what you radiate. That's right. You can flood her inbox with compliments, serenade her with emoji-laced poetry, or call just to check in, but if your energy screams desperation, if she senses that you need her to feel worthy, you've already lost the game. Women, especially the high-value ones, can smell neediness before you even hit send. And nothing dries up attraction faster than the scent of emotional dependence. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us, speak less, be more. There's an iron mind behind calm presence. A quiet man with purpose shakes the room louder than a loud man with no center. You must stop thinking your words will win her back or make her miss you. Words can lie. Energy never does. So what do? Be the man whose presence speaks volumes before his mouth ever opens. Walk into the room like you belong, not like you're hoping to be accepted. Carry the weight of a man who doesn't chase validation because he's too busy creating a life that pulls admiration. That's the mark of a man grounded in Stoic principles. He doesn't push, he draws. When you're silent, don't let that silence scream, "Where is she?" Let it hum with purpose. Let it echo with meaning. That is, when she doesn't hear from you, she should picture you out there, crushing life, training, building, smiling at sunsets, laughing with friends, living, not longing. Don't let your withdrawal feel like a whimper. Let it feel like a magnetic absence. Be the man who exits without apology and suddenly becomes the man she can't stop thinking about. Because the more you're at peace in your own world, the more curious she becomes about how you're doing it. That curiosity, that's the hook. That's when she starts to miss you, not because you begged for attention, but because you earned it with your vibe. Remember, your energy is either an anchor or a repellent. Craft it well. Let it be stable, still, and strong. Let your aura say, "I don't need you to want me," but you will. Old Stoic wisdom didn't survive for thousands of years because it's soft and romantic. It survived because it works. The iron mind isn't built on theatrics. It's built on self-control, presence, and unshakable internal value. That's what Stoic principles demand. Be still, but powerful. Be kind, but detached. Be visible, but mysterious. Women don't miss men who are constantly available. They miss the ones who are unmistakably real. Your job isn't to convince her you matter. It's to become the kind of man who never had to say it in the first place. Let your life, your vibe, and your silence do what sweet talk never could. That's not a game. It's old Stoic wisdom at its finest. So stop typing. Stop explaining. Build the kind of presence that doesn't ask to be missed. It just is. All right, brother. Thanks for sticking around. Here's the truth. Sometimes the best way to make her miss you is to simply pull back and focus on yourself. It's not about games, it's about self-respect. And that quiet confidence speaks louder than anything you can say. If she doesn't notice when you distance yourself, that tells you something. But if she does, that's when the power of presence and absence becomes real. I'd love to hear what your experience has been with this. Have you ever tried pulling back? Did she notice or not? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone, and I'll be replying to as many as I can, because this is the kind of real talk that a lot of men need to hear and share. Hit the like button if this helps you see things differently. And if you're not already subscribed, now's the time. More straight up. No fluff content is on the way. Keep building, keep moving, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.